Hello. I want to tell you for a start off that when I was a teenager, I became a vegetarian. And I was at boarding school at the time, and there was one teacher at the school who was also a vegetarian, and there was another girl, and the rest were meat eaters, and we three vegetarians would sit at the same table, and the other girls would surround us eating their shepherd's pie and their roast beef or whatever, and none of us had any problem with that. That was their thing. That was our thing. And I want to tell you that the vegetarian diet at the time, especially in a boarding school, was not very imaginative. We'd get the vegetables that everyone else was eating, the potatoes and the cabbage or whatever it was. And then instead of the meat, there'd be a chunk of cheese or something like that. Occasionally the cook did do something special for us, but generally, no. I mean, she didn't have the time. Right, so we just tolerated what the other girls were doing because that was their thing. And occasionally I would, the smell of the meat, it was surrounding us and it was delicious. It smelt wonderful. And I desperately wanted to eat it because I'm a human being and human beings are meat eaters. However, I couldn't do it because my principles stopped me. That was the way I regarded such things. We have gone on to more problems now from people who have principles. And these principles are, generally speaking, not so much principles, but methods of exercising control over other people. Now, it's not just vegans, of course. It's members of certain ethnic groups who feel that their principles are so strong they can't tolerate anyone else to do something different in their neighbourhood or surroundings. And then there are certain people with I have to be so careful about this. Well, they wonder which tram to get on. Those sorts of people who decide that everyone has to kowtow to their particular view of the world. And then, of course, there are people who have political beliefs that lead them to the conclusion that everyone else who has different beliefs is just evil. Right, so we have this gaining more and more traction in society, and of course that is a society that's going to fall apart. There is no give in that. When society divides into groups that are intolerant of each other, we have a problem. Right, before I go on to the series of letters, I shall tell you I'm Granniopteryx. I'm on YouTube, Rumble, BitChute and Minds. I'm also on Twitter and Gab. It's on Twitter and Gab that I tell you when I've uploaded a new video. You can help my channel financially. Links are in the description. Links to all of the foregoing are in the description. You don't need a link to click like though, and that really would help my channel. Please do that. Also, you can share this video and you can subscribe. If you're subscribed on YouTube, just remember sometimes subscriptions just evaporate for no reason, so check that one out. All right, let's just get on with this. Upset vegan family send note to neighbour asking them to close window when cooking meat. And the note was this. It starts, "Hello neighbour." Now, these people know each other. They're next door to each other. Why couldn't she have gone round and talked to the neighbour? No, she sends this semi-literate communication. I'll get onto that in a minute. "My family are vegan, and just in case the neighbour doesn't know what that means, we eat only plant-based foods. And the smell of the meat you cook makes us feel sick and upset. We would appreciate your understanding." I wonder, there were some people who said the note was polite and should have been accommodated. What I'm saying is, if the neighbour next door were Indian and cooked a lot of curries, would that person still get the response that the letter was polite if she wrote a letter saying, the smell of your curries makes me sick. Will you close the window? Ah, no. That would be considered impolite, wouldn't it? So why should this be any the less impolite? You are interfering with a neighbour's lifestyle. Now, you may ask them to close the window, but you don't need to send a note like this. But you also have a window. Why don't you close your own? That's another point. Look how this letter is presented. Hello, neighbour. And this person, as I say, knows this neighbour's name. We'll see that in a while. What, block capitals? Why block capitals? Can't she do cursive script? And this thanks, which she's stuck on the end, she made a mistake. Couldn't she rewrite the letter so it looked better presented? She can't even stay on the lines. This is someone who, well, I'd say has a problem of literacy, but most certainly of intelligence. At least they were polite, read one reply. I don't think it's polite because the feeling behind it is impolite. The feeling that everyone has to accommodate your particular gripes. As I said, when I was at boarding school, I smelt the meat that the other girls were eating, and it sometimes drove me half wild because, I mean, as I say, humans are carnivores. We are programmed to like meat. But I couldn't bring myself to do that because I just didn't want to eat animals. I had to eventually, in adulthood, I had to stop being a vegetarian completely because of some health issues I have. Otherwise, I'd still be a vegetarian. And it wouldn't bother me that other people ate meat. And then we have this. A few days later, during the coronation weekend, that neighbour, the one who cooked the meat, had already organised a party, which included a barbecue. So Kylie, who lives in the coastal suburb of Burns Beach, north of Perth, Western Australia, hosted a coronation party. She spent weeks organising the thing, and she apparently, the neighbour who'd sent her the previous letter, sent her a handwritten letter labelled "Last Warning. Enough is enough. And please take seriously." And this is a sign of serious psychological disturbance, I'd say. And perhaps that vegan neighbour needs to eat some meat, because it looks like she's suffering from serious B vitamin deficiencies. Hello, Kylie, so she knows her name. You are taking the mickey out of me and have been downright rude. No, she hasn't. She's been living in a house and living her own life. I raised my concerns of the smell of meat making my family sick and upset, and you go and have a barbecue on Saturday night, inviting lots of people, and you knew this would affect me and my family. My friend Tina told me you took my letter to social media and it backfired on you, which is just desserts. The author of the letter, known as Sarah, Wayne and Kids, threatens to report the matter and share it on social media if Kylie continues to throw her meat-filled barbecues. Please, no more barbecues. So it's not just a matter of closing your window. It's a matter of you do in your back garden what I say you do. Now, this is a religion. This is a cult, not just a principle. Right, so that's it. Now, I was bringing this to your attention, not because there's a mad vegan, but because this vegan feels entitled to tell other people what to do. And some of the responses were, well, she was polite about it, so why don't you just shut your window? You know, if the neighbour had gone round and said, would you mind shutting your window, that would have been polite. But the fact is, I don't think anything short of a complete vegetarianism would have satisfied this Sarah, Wayne and kids, because even the barbecue, well, especially the barbecue, she regarded as a personal attack. That is a sign of a disintegrating, I mean a fractionalising society. And it's something actually that the law should take very seriously. This is a relatively small neighbour spat, but if society is allowed to do this sort of thing, then it's just going to get worse. The cracks are going to deepen and everything is going to fragment. It's really, this seems quite ridiculous, laughable even. It's really serious. All right, till next time. Why not treat yourself or a favoured relative or friend to these magnificent examples of merch? The mugs and t-shirts come in the granniopteryx design or Granbo with a firearm or the more deadly knitting needles. Go to www.granniopteryx.com and whatever platform you're watching this on, please click like, subscribe and share.